Good evening, and welcome along to the show. And what a show it is this evening. We got some fabulous live music in the studio. Brian Houston is going to be here performing live and also telling us all about his brand new album. We'll be finding out about this year's Cinemagic Festival, and the Bridesmaids of Northern Ireland are heading out on the road. Before they do, they're going to be here in the studio as well. I've been catching up with some of Northern Ireland's biggest sporting stars at the launch of the Lidl Sport for Good programme. But before all that, let's talk movies. And the movie maestro Tim Burden is with us in the studio. Tim, how are you?
Hey Robin, how are you? I'm good, thank you very much.
And you're obviously preparing for good weather or something with the shirt.
Well, no, this is my Avatar tribute shirt. Very colourful. Do not adjust your TV sets. But
so we are starting with Avatar then, because the re-release is out, isn't it?
That's right, Avatar. A lot of people are very harsh on it and say it's all about giant Smurfs, but it's much more than that. You know, I mean, you have the original Avatar, which was 2009, believe it or not. The years have flown by. So this has been re-released in a beautiful new remaster in 4K, high definition. It's still in 3D, but the 3D elements have all been remastered and kind of restored in different ways. So it'll be even more immersive than it was in 2009. Obviously, technology is one of James Cameron's biggest attributes. You know, he loves that side of filmmaking. And I mean, it's good for us. I mean, it can be that detail, which really, the likes of Avatar, with this wonderful world, it really is enhanced. You can see it in, you know, IMAX and 4DX with all the seats moving if you want all that, and the water spraying at you, or simply in 3D. But I say simply in the best possible way, because it's so immersive. You know, as long as you get the proper glasses, not the NAF paper ones, the proper plastic glasses. I think they cost about $4.20 or something. As long as you wear the proper ones, then you really are there, and the depth of focus and everything is really immersive. And of course, the music by James Horner, wonderful, washes over you whenever you have Jake's flight, you know, on that very unusual kind of bird thing. Yeah. It has a name, but I can't remember. But Avatar, yeah, seeing Avatar back in the big screen's thrilling, and it's a great little taste to what lies ahead. December the 16th is the red letter date for The Way of Water, Avatar, the sequel. It's set a decade after this, you know, Avatar, which is currently at cinemas. So we follow Jake. This is, you know, Sam Weatherton's character, and we are set decade later, and we're actually following his family, and he has to try and keep his family alive because once again, forces are at work to try and destroy the world. You know, so it's something to look forward to.
And of course, it's over a decade since the first one, so it's going to open up Avatar to a whole new audience now as well, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah. Yes, it is. So it's all strategic, definitely strategic. So yeah, Avatar would be something to definitely look forward to. But yeah, go and experience the original film now while you still can. It's good. All
right, well, since we're getting all nostalgic, we're going to head way back in time to Fiddler on the Roof, which, if I'm not mistaken, was 1971, wasn't it?
Very good. It was 1971. It was up for loads of Oscars. It won for the Best Adapted Music Score. That was John Williams' first ever Oscar, not for his own music, although he did write some music and some flourishes for Jerry Bock's score back in those days. But it's one of the great things about Fiddler on the Roof. It is totally timeless. We're going to do like a weekend of screenings at the Strand Cinema at the old Strand Arts Centre in East Belfast on the 1st of October. So we'll show the original 3-hour film, brilliant film on the big screen, lovely you know, HD print. And then on the day after, on the Sunday, it's actually a premiere of the documentary about the making of the film. Right. It's called Fiddler's Journey to the Big Screen, directed by Daniel Ryan. He's actually been nominated for Oscars and all sorts of, he's a great documentary filmmaker. He'll be introducing the film, and it's a great coup actually. It's a lovely premiere for us to have in Northern Ireland because it's actually, I mean, it's been out over in the States and in Israel and other parts of the world, but it's not premiering in London or in Dublin until later this year. Okay. The Jewish Film Festival in London are going to premiere in November. So it's lovely for us in Belfast to have our little exclusive on the 2nd of October. It's going to be at 4:45, and yeah, I mean, it's narrated by Jeff Goldblum. Wow. And all of the cast in the film, including Topol, they've all been interviewed over the years. They talk about their experiences making the film, and it wasn't always easy going. Yeah. I mean, it was a massive production to stage for the film. And, you know, they went on location to Croatia and also to Israel. And of course, when you think of the subject matter of a people being forced out of their community, it's so timely because of what we watch on the news each day. It's you know, it's a timeless film. And Fiddler on the Roof features so many great songs, as you well know. And I know we have a nice clip to kind of show some of the clips from the movie and the new documentary. And like If I Were a Rich Man, Miracle of Miracles, all these iconic, Matchmaker, one of everyone's favourites. And it's going to be wonderful to see it on the big screen at the Strand. So hopefully people can come along.
Excellent. Okay, let's move on to new releases then. What have we got?
Yes, so new release-wise, well, I think we should definitely talk about The Woman King. Yeah. Now, The Woman King is definitely hot property when you talk about Oscars. Whenever we think about the Oscar race early next year, I think we'll see Viola Davis get another Oscar. She plays in this film General Naniska. And the great thing about The Woman King is it's actually quite factual. It's based on a true story of the Ajaji. They're all-female warriors in the African region of Dahomey. Now, I want to make sure I got that right, so I wrote it down. And it's set in the 1800s. And the Kingdom of Dahomey, I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, they shot the film on location. There's no kind of CGI. It was all filmed actually in the African region. But when you think back to when it would have taken place in the 1800s, it's a solid reminder of how much of that country is so beautifully untouched, despite we know the tribulations Africa and many of the surrounding countries go through. I think there's, as I say, you know, seeing that on film, the beautiful untouched scenery, and then being reminded of the hardship and the brutality that they had to endure. I mean, and this all-female warriors who were trained really like an elite force, you know, back in the 1800s, were having to, you know, fight for their, not just their integrity and freedom, but also, you know, for their land and their families by these horrible European slaves, traders, you know, coming to steal families and even their own people, you know, African people who were really just, you know, feeding off the money and the finances of this, forgetting all about, you know, the humanity. So it's a wonderful film. The Woman King is going to be out next week, but there will be previews these coming few days. So check the listings, but it's something which I highly recommend. And as I say, I think it's really going to be Oscar success early next year.
Excellent. What else have we got then?
Well, another good one I think we should certainly highlight is Brendan Gleeson and Colin Farrell are going to be starring in The Banshees of Inisherin.
Yes.
And this is Martin McDonagh's latest film. You know Martin McDonagh, he made The Guard, In Bruges, terrific films. And when you think about In Bruges, of course, we've got Colin and Brendan back on screen together. Yeah. First time they've been together since that film, actually. And with this film, it's set on the west coast of Ireland, so it's back to his kind of The Guard territory. And it's really about this small community. And these two friends have been friends since like 11 or, you know, really young. But Brendan Gleeson is so sick and tired of Colin Farrell. He says, right, I don't want to be your friend anymore. You know, one scene in the film, you know, one of the youngsters, what are you, 12? You know, it's the way he says it. Like Brendan Gleeson, what is it, 60 or 70? Yeah. Colin Farrell's, you know, middle-aged now. And Colin Farrell can't believe what he's saying. Really? And, you know, he just doesn't want to, but the problem is it's such a small, tight-knit community, you can't not bump into each other.
Yeah.
And he says, you know, I don't want to be around you anymore unless you stay away from me. I'm going to cut off each of my fingers. You know, it sounds pretty intense, but you know, it's that classic Martin McDonagh black humour. Yeah. It's done with such, style and class, and of course, the actual performances by Gleeson and Farrell are what make the film. So that's really highly recommended. And
I think recently at one of the film festivals as well, they got the award for the longest standing ovation or something, 13 minutes.
Yes, that's right.
Venice Film Festival, didn't they?
That's right. I mean, Elvis got a massive ovation, nearly almost the same, but they did. But I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be out in October, so that's something to look forward to. But another one showing now, which we should not certainly forget about, is Don't Worry, Darling.
Yes.
So directed by Olivia Wilde. We know Harry Styles and Chris Pine. Apparently, word is they didn't get on. I don't know if that's true.
Right, okay.
They didn't get on set, but I'm not sure. You know, we never know. You know yourself with press and media. Sometimes these pictures are painted, and we never really know what goes on behind closed doors. But there was a bit of a kerfuffle at, when you talk about film festivals, a festival recently where it looked like Harry Styles was totally blanking Chris Pine, which is bizarre.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So is Harry going to go on to have this big, successful film career then?
It seems to be certainly going in the right direction. I mean, we know how good he was in 1917, and things have progressed very well for him. And in this film, he does have great charisma, and he always did, of course, in the band. Yeah. He was on stage, and you always, you know, certainly your eyes always went to him. But whether he has that lasting power remains to be seen. But he does. He's quite menacing in this film. I mean, it's quite an unpleasant film. You shouldn't say, as I say, set in 1950s, so it's all very, you know, glossy America, but it's deceiving. You know, there's an undercurrent of quite unpleasantness. So, but he does handle that narrative quite well, which any actor with talent, you know, can. So that's a good sign with Harry Styles.
Indeed. Right, let's talk streaming platforms now as well. And something that I am loving is Only Murders in the Building. When I first saw the lineup, Steve Martin, Martin Short, I went, brilliant. Then I saw Selena Gomez thrown into the mix, and I thought, this is not going to work. But my God, it does. The three of them are amazing, aren't they?
It does. I love this show. Season 2 has been even better than season 1. It's been so impressive. Selena Gomez is quite, I mean, certainly a surprise, you know, kind of left field. I think her performance has been so sincere, and, you know, even her wardrobe is great. These kind of fluffy jumpers she wears. I love it. You know, it's very kind of elegant New York, but it's clever. It is, you know, the concept of the kind of the podcast, which is very kind of in and street. And Murders in the Building. It reminded me a little bit of kind of some of those old Woody Allen films, but you know, but this is definitely even, you know, it's notch up a notch. You know, I think
it takes you right back to Steve Martin in the '80s and all those great films that he did. And you remember just how good he is as a good comedy actor.
Totally, yeah, absolutely. And the chemistry with him and Martin Short is really fabulous, because you remember like the Three Amigos and those films they did together. You know, there's a great history of those two on screen, and I think they do a live show, don't they, that tours the world. So this is something which has really landed and is a great excuse. I mean, it's, you know, Disney Plus. I know these days things are tight, but it is worth that little bit of subscription fee just to watch that show. Exactly. It's a great show.
Let's finish with something on Netflix. I know we've got Bloodlands back on BBC One with Jimmy Nesbitt. I'm not enjoying it, and people are going to probably hate me for saying this, but I think the script and some of the acting is just awful.
Well, look, I know what you mean to some extent, but so far I'm enjoying it. I am enjoying it, and it'd be interesting to see what happened to the goal.
If I had a choice between that or Adrian Dunbar and Ridley would definitely win, because I think he's great.
It's funny you say that. I lost interest in Ridley after episode 3. You know, I thought episodes 1 and 2 were great. It drifted off a bit for me. And then whenever Adrian Dunbar starts singing at the end, it's like, really? You know, I don't know, it just, you know, the first episode...
Is he doing a Dennis Waterman thing? Quaint. Is this where this is going?
Look, I love Adrian Dunbar, and I mean, it's certainly fantastic to see him in his own show like this again. But no, something about Ripley just doesn't gel with me. But when you talk about Jimmy Nesbitt and streaming Netflix have recently put, you know, as something which you could see. I know it's quite old, but they've put back The Secret. Yes. Which I think was a UTV production many years ago, with Jimmy Nesbitt playing that Coleraine dentist. We know it's a true story set in the early 90s, a terrifying true story. I don't give too much away, just in case you haven't seen it. But it's something which is very gripping. I think there's about 6 episodes. So you know, but I mean, the good thing about Netflix is you can binge it, so you don't have to wait. Unlike Bloodlands, you have to wait each week. So that's worth watching on Netflix. And talking about binging, on BBC iPlayer, Crossfire is terrific.
Right.
All episodes are there now. I think there's 3 episodes, and about this remote Turkey resort. where there's gunmen who actually invade the resort. Ukili plays the main lead. It's very, very good. So that's worth watching.
Okay.
So there's a few things to check out.
Exactly. Tim, it's been good seeing you as always. And
You
of course,
too.
we can catch you on the radio Thursday nights, Belfast 24/7, Movie Magic from 7.
That's right. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Now, a number of Northern Ireland's leading sporting stars have teamed up with Lidl for their Sport for Good programme. The launch took place earlier this week at the Colin Glen Dome. I was there to meet the stars. Here's what happened. Okay, so Ciara, great to see you today. Tell us about your involvement in the Sport for Good campaign then.
So I'm an ambassador and very proud to be a Lidl ambassador for the Sport for Good campaign. It's great to be part of a campaign that's really given back to our community, a community that really made me the athlete and the person that I am today. It's where my grassroots in sport began, and it's where I've really been able to go and represent our nation at the highest level, coming home with a Commonwealth Games medal for Northern Ireland. So to be part of this campaign that's given back to our youth, really looking after their sporting needs but also their mental health needs, which is something that is perhaps overlooked, and in particular with COVID and the effect that's had on the mental health of our youth coming up. It's fantastic to see that they're addressing that and really helping build the youth's confidence in sport, because as much of it's important, for the likes of me at the top of our sport gives so much to youngsters going throughout all aspects of their life, be that for sporting achievements or for just confidence in everyday life. So yeah, it's great to be part of this campaign and to thank Lidl really for giving back and to be able to be an ambassador.
So we're seeing so much sporting success coming from Northern Ireland at the moment. There'll be young people watching this who may be quite good at sport and they're thinking, do you know what, these guys are lucky. I'd love to be doing what they're doing, but I'll never be able to achieve that. They can achieve their goals, can't they?
They definitely can. And I think, us athletes here today are a perfect example of that. I was just like them. I was a little girl growing up in Portaferry. I grew up playing camogie. I did Irish dancing. I did tap dancing. I did drama. I was in everything. And, there's no difference between me and them. We're all very similar. So if they take anything from this, is that we can achieve our dreams, and that's something that I feel so passionately about. It's great to be able to have this platform to be able to express that, because from little acorns grow mighty oaks, and we all have to start somewhere, whether you're from Portaferry, whether you're from Ballymoney, whether you're from any area of our community. We have the world's best sports stars from here in all aspects. We've got swimming, gymnastics, athletics, we've got golfers, we've got everything. We've got GA players, we've got rugby players. They all have to start somewhere. So if you think that you can't, you have to change your mind. Believe in yourself and go out and work hard, and anything's achievable.
So Bethany, I see we've got the gold medal from Birmingham. I mean, obviously this was the dream come true for you.
Yeah, definitely the dream. It took over 10 years to get the full collection, but we finally got there, and I still can't put into words even what it means to me.
And what's your memories of Birmingham? I mean, this was massive, the Commonwealth Games, wasn't it?
Yeah, for me it was such a personal games as well. I represent GB, but to have that Northern Ireland flag on my hat and just do it for my country. I've grew up here, I've trained here, I've always been here, and just to have that support from back home was so lovely.
So what age were you when you started and got interested in swimming then?
Yeah, so I actually started when I was 13. So I grew up with a disability, and sport for me was something I sort of shied away from because I wasn't very good at it. It took me a lot longer to learn, and I just didn't get into it until my school pushed me to start swimming, and it completely changed my life around and it opened so many doors for me. So it wasn't until I was 13 that I actually started.
Wow, and I mean, you're proof that somebody with a disability can achieve something so big as well. So you must be inspiring a lot of young people out there at the moment.
Yeah, I definitely hope so, and especially having a disability that isn't shown or that people can actually see. It's really important for me to just talk about, it's a bit like mental health. People can't see what's going on and they can't sort of understand it sometimes, so I think it's really important, even for people just to ask questions or find out what's going on or how they can help, because through sport, if I didn't have those people that daily were really helping me and really teaching me, then I would never have achieved what I've achieved.
Was it a struggle for you before you found swimming, before you found your sport?
Yeah, definitely. I think if anyone met me or knew me when I was younger, I wouldn't talk to people. I found it really difficult to be in social situations. I would shy away. I just found it really, really tough. And even now, I go to events and people talk to me, and afterwards I'm trying to work out how I actually knew these people or what's going on. So I think people don't see the actual side that you do have and that you do struggle with. but I think it's amazing just what sport can do and how it can really change your life.
So Rhys, tell us about the Lidl Sport for Good programme. What does it mean to you to be involved in this?
Well, I feel like it's a way of me giving back to my community that I've grown up in, and it's a great way to do it. It's a great partnership to be involved in, and I just remember when I was young in school, when we would get some sort of grant from a company, it would really energise everybody in the school, the teachers as well, and it would just give more opportunities for us. So to be a part of such a programme that's giving so much money to different communities and different schools, I'm privileged to be a part of that, really.
And how important is it to get young people involved in sport these days?
I mean, speaking from personal experience, sport is my life, and it was even when I was younger in school. It was my way of staying happy, staying confident. As soon as I left school, I went straight into the gym, and that was my escape. And to this day, it still is. And I feel like every foundation in my life is built from sport. So I love the fact that Lidl are giving young people this opportunity that I've had as well.
I see you've got the silver medal from the Commonwealth Games. What was it like to be involved in Birmingham 2022?
Yeah, it was a struggle getting to Birmingham in the first place. Of course, myself and my two teammates in gymnastics weren't allowed to compete there in the first place. So I feel like this medal is a great representation of what it took to get to that Commonwealth Games. Gymnastics' most successful ever Commonwealth Games. Northern Ireland's most successful ever Commonwealth Games. It's a privilege to be contributing to that, and of course I would have wanted gold, but I'll settle for silver, and it's a good position to be in, that I want to be striving for more and more.
So what's next for you? I know you're flying off to compete somewhere else after this today, aren't you?
Yes, I'm going to Paris tomorrow, so I'm always on the road, always competing, and I love it. I love what I do. This is my dream job, and the big one for this year is the World Championships, where I'll hopefully be going there, making another world final, and hopefully bringing home the gold medal once again.
There'll be people watching this, maybe young people who have a dream of becoming a sports star and going, he's just lucky, there's no way that I could do that. What kind of advice would you give to them?
Luck is sometimes a part of it, you're right, but definitely no medals come easy. It's not only luck that contributes to it, it's probably that little 1% of luck that contributes to it, and the rest of the 99% is hard work and dedication throughout the gym and throughout your life every single day. So stick at it, so keep working hard, and the results shall follow.
And what age were you when you started then?
I started when I was 6 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've had that Olympic dream of going to the Olympic Games since I was probably about 8 years old. That first couple of years is understanding the sport, falling in love with the sport, and then by the age of 8 I was like, yeah, I'm going to the Olympic Games.
So what's next for you then? After winning gold at the Commonwealth, where are you going to go next?
Yeah, so I think honestly, I have 2 more years really left in me. We have a World Championships, and then it's the Paris year again, it's the big games year, and I think there are the 2 years I want to push forward and just try and do a lot. But for me personally, I just want to try and promote a wee bit more disability sport and get more people with a disability into sport, because we are such a small country, but we do have a lot of people that have disabilities, whether they're hidden or physical, or you can see, and I think it's important just to open some doors for them.
So what's next for you then, competing wise?
Next up for me, I'm having a little break, and then there's no real rest for middle distance runners. I'll have a cross country season in the winter, then it'll roll down round to the indoor season with the European champs in March, and then the big aim for me will be the world champs next summer, and then obviously the really obvious one, the Olympic Games in Paris. That's going to come around very fast, so that's always on the horizon. So that's really where the whole focus is, world champs and then Olympics.
Of course, you set a record recently as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I had a pretty good summer, I'd say. To come home with 2 medals, one for Northern Ireland and one for Ireland, was pretty special. I probably would have sat back and been happy with that season, but to go out and run an Irish record over the 1500 metres, to run 3:56 to take Sonia Sullivan's 1500 metre record, and to smash that was phenomenal. It's that'll go down as probably the race of my career to date. So that was the cherry on the top of an absolutely fantastic season.
And what about a training schedule? What's a typical day for you like then?
So a typical day for me, usually I train twice a day, every day, all week, and twice a week I do 3 training sessions with 2 runs and a gym. So usually I get up in the morning, have a bit of breakfast, get out for a run, back and have some lunch and relax, then get out for a gym session straight after that. I come back and chill another little bit, and then I'm straight back out for an evening run. So yeah, no rest for the wicked, but I feel very fortunate to be a full-time athlete, so I'm lucky that I don't have to work a 9 to 5 in between that, and
Exactly,
I'm
yeah.
lucky for that.
And coming from Portaferry, do you ever get into Captain Jack's for a fish supper?
Oh, I definitely do. I definitely get into Captain Jack's, and if anybody who knows me, I was very, very grateful that they threw me a little 30th birthday party. My sister graduated from university, and my 30th was at the same time, and we had a birthday bash in Captain Jack's. So if anybody's down there, take a trip in. It's brilliant grub.
Brilliant, Ciara. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Well, Rhys, thank you so much, and the best of luck in Paris.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bethany, great talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And for more information on Lidl's Sport for Good programme, check out the website, which is lidl-ni.co.uk. Now, Brian Houston is back with a brand new album. He's going to tell us all about it in just a second. But before that, here he is performing live with a song called These Days.
I was walking sad down our street. I was thinking all about me and you. Well, I was skipping, I was dancing in the sunlight. I was on my way to buy St. Dominic's preview. Oh, these days you're beginning to believe. Oh, these days you're sweeter than you used to be. Well, I asked the man behind the counter, is it an original? He shrugged me off and said, son, you know, I don't really have a clue. But I tucked this 12 inches of vinyl under my left arm anyway, and I made my way up the street to make our secret rendezvous. Oh, these days I think you're starting to understand. Oh, these days your demons, they don't have the upper hand. Well, last night you cried yourself to sleep again. How many more nights are gonna have to end like this? Well, last night you cried yourself to sleep again, and this morning your kiss tastes like the ocean on my lips. Girl, you've a million moving mysteries in motion. You know the truth is like gold, it's so very, 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 very hard to find. And the past is like a riches whenever we cling to it. It don't bring you peace, it just makes you drunk and it leaves you blah, 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 blah. All these days I think you're starting to understand. All these days your demons, they don't have the upper hand. Well, last night you cried yourself to sleep again. How many more nights are gonna have to end like this? Well, last night you cried yourself to sleep again, and this morning your kiss tastes like the ocean on my lips. Girl, you've a million moving mysteries in motion. You know the truth is like gold, it's so very, 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 very hard to find. And the past is like a riches whenever we cling to it. It don't bring you peace, it just makes you drunk and it leaves you blah, 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 blah. All these days I think I got a brand new vision of you. All these days it's like you've been restored, refreshed and renewed. It's like I had a revival. It's like I had a revival, like an old time revival.
So there we go, Brian Houston live in the NVTV studios with a track called These Days, and I'm pleased to say the man himself joins us now. Brian, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good to see you. And I must say thank you for the gift. Nobody's ever given me a vinyl record before. This is quite exciting for me actually to get
it's
this.
good to be first, I guess.
So that's the new album.
Yes, this is the brand new one.
And I see the first thing you notice is a recommendation from Bob Harris on the front. That's pretty good.
Yes, that's a huge compliment actually, that Bob liked it and listened to it. And it was the vinyl we sent Bob, you know. The CD has a few more tracks on it, but we wanted people to hear the record as a kind of body of work on vinyl, you know, and it sounds good on vinyl.
Brilliant, okay. So tell us about the song you just performed there. What's the story behind
These
that
days.
one?
Well, the reason I did that one is actually off the Sugar Queen record, which came out 2007, I think. But that record, or that song, I wrote about North Street. I don't know if you remember, there used to be things called record stores where people went to buy music.
Yes, of course.
And
yes.
there used to be Hector's House right in North Street.
Yeah.
And I was I was on the Jerry Kelly radio show one time, and I was telling them, you know, I like to go to Hector's House and rummage through the vinyl. This is before vinyl had kind of made a comeback, and you were kind of in there looking for hidden gems and deleted items, you know. And I happened to mention that Hector wasn't the most hospitable of characters on the radio. Yeah. And I never thought anything of it, you know. Big Mouth said things I shouldn't say. And then a few months later, I was actually down in Hector's house, and I thought, well, you know, I'll try and get a wee bit of discount. And so I go up to the counter with a couple of LPs, and I said to Hector, Hector, I play a bit of music. He went, right. And I said, I was on Jerry Kelly radio show a few weeks ago. I mentioned your shop. And apparently I'm a grumpy. And he'd heard all about it. So needless to say, there was no discount. But it inspired that song, and if you get a song out of it, sure, it's all right.
I'm looking down the song list here. I see Good News Junkie, which I remember the first time I got the CD sent into City Beat back in the day and played that. I mean, a great song, but that was kind of you in your boy band days.
Well, that's
because you had a different hairstyle back then.
Exactly, very clean cut. It was before the wild world travel sort of lifestyle, I guess. But yeah, I mean, the concept behind this record, you see, is that it's a lot of brand new songs, but it's also some older songs. Yeah. Because I was working with a manager called John Dines, a friend, and he wanted me to present a body of work that was very raw, very stripped back, hence why the LP cover is white and CD cover is white with just a signature. There's no photographs of me. There's nothing to distract from the music, and it's the same with the production values on the record. It's very much, I think it's just one track, has drums. The rest is all pretty much vocals, guitar, a little bit of vocal, backing vocal stuff. But so the whole idea was to just present the songs and say, do you like them or do you not, you know?
Yeah. Brilliant. Tell me about being in America as well, because you're telling me a fascinating story earlier on. I know you spent a lot of time in America and indeed in Canada as well, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's a weird one. That sort of started because I got a call from a guy in the States, said there's a guy who needs somewhere to stay. So would you go and pick him up from the train station and take him to the airport next day? Give him something to eat and give him a bed. And I thought, well, you know. So I went down, picked the guy up, and never seen him before. And we hung out. We got on great. He went back to America the next day. And he said to me, if you ever need, you know, a visa, I'll be your sponsor. So I followed that up, which led to us living there for a few years in the mid sort of, 2013 through 2016. And when I arrived there, I got this email from a Cree chief, actually a war chief. And he sent me a message saying, welcome to Turtle Island, which is what the natives call North America. I want to welcome you on behalf of the First Peoples. I'd love you to come to my village. And I was like, sure. I looked it up on the map. It's a place called Mistissini. And it's the middle of nowhere. Yeah. Long story short, I ended up going there in 2017, met him in the airport. Next day, we drove 12 hours, 500 miles north, Montreal, way on up to Mistissini. That's where the road ends. It's the frontier. And on the way, he said to me, he told me his life story. I developed a relationship with him, and that led to me actually being adopted by him. Next thing I found myself on both Canadian coasts, one time in a place called Kitimat, which is in northern Pacific coast, looking at the Pacific Ocean with the Métis people. Another time I'm in Cape Breton with the Mi'kmaq people in a teepee, getting a native name given to me. And another time I'm in a teepee on the plains of Calgary with the Nakota people, smoking a peace pipe. So,
Wow.
I guess it's a kind of Western story. And that has all happened since 2017, since meeting that chief,
Brilliant. I mean, you have had a great life and you've done so much, and I mean, you've worked with many big names in the music industry as well. I want you to tell me a story you told me the last time about Chuck Berry, because that was pretty special, wasn't it?
Well, people don't believe that story's true. Well, actually, I forget. Oh, yeah, there was a guy who I'd known, Adam, you called him, and he was working at the Waterfront, and they needed an opening act for Chuck Berry. So I was offered a lot of money to go down and open for Chuck Berry, but the truth is I would have paid a lot of money to go and open for Chuck Berry. And so I went down there in a pink shirt and black suit and tried to look as 50s rock and roll as I could, and opened for Chuck. And the guy who ran the Waterfront at that point, he said to me, look, apparently Chuck's been asking for £500 for an encore. Right. So you want to be side stage when Chuck comes off stage to see that happen. It's a moment in history. So I stood on the dressing room side. Chuck exited via the other side. Right, yeah. So I had to run around the back of the curtain. And by the time I got there, Chuck was just coming off the stage. I'm standing there in my monkey suit, and I said to him, Chuck, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. He takes off his guitar and he hands it to me.
Right.
Well, now, and then Chuck walked away and the band walked away, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, what do I do with this? And I looked at the guitar, and in the pick, in the strings was one of his picks with a little picture of Chuck on it. Yeah. So I took out my phone and I took a picture, expecting at any moment that someone will come and wrestle this guitar off me. But next thing is just me standing there with the roadie. And he was a local guy who had hired them their amplifiers and stuff. And he said, give me that. I can take it up to the dressing room. I said, I'm thinking, there's the possibility that he actually meant me to have this.
Exactly, yeah.
And if there's that possibility, well, it would be rude to hand it back.
Of course.
And far be it from me to insult Mr. Berry. So I said, no, it's okay, I'll take it up. So I went up the back of the Waterfront. Well, that place is like a maze. I couldn't find the dressing room. I came back downstairs. The roadie had gone. The room was empty. I walked through backstage area. I set the guitar on the bench where the roadie had been, and I thought, if I leave that there, I'm the last guy with it. If it goes missing, I'm to blame.
Exactly.
So I went round with the guitar to the security point. There was no one there. So I walked past that point to the next security point. There's no one there. And I go through the next set of double doors, and now I'm into the foyer, right? And there's a few hundred people there. They're standing. My brother's selling CDs. We sold 113 CDs that night, which was amazing. And I went and joined my brother, and people saw the guitar. So I took the pick out, for safekeeping, and people began to paw at the guitar. And so I set it under our merch table and, on a cardboard box, and just put the cover over it and continued to sell CDs. And the whole time I can feel my phone in my back pocket buzzing like crazy, but I'm busy signing CDs and all that crap. And next thing I know, eventually it got so annoying, I just pulled the phone out and handed it to my brother. Says, can you take that while I'm signing these? And he hands me the phone, and I hear the road manager from the Waterfront Hall, beep, 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 guitar, beep, 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 beep. And I thought, oops, closed the phone, put it in my pocket, and continued to sell CDs. Next thing, there's a tap on my shoulder. I looked around, there's a bouncer. Yeah. Where's the guitar? So, of course, it looks very suspicious whenever I lift the cover and pull out said guitar. And, of course, it looks like I'm trying to plank the thing, right? As they would say when I was growing up in the Braniel estate. And so they took the guitar away. But the person in charge of the Waterfront before the show had asked me to keep him a CD. Right. So I kept him this copy of Sugar Queen, which these days is on. And at the end of the show, I walked over and handed him the CD, and I said, there you go, we kept that one for you. And he said, well, we didn't know when we booked you that we were booking a thief. So I was branded a thief, even though I was just like the victim's circumstance, Your Honour, and that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it.
Exactly. Just looking after Chuck Terry's guitar. Wow, what a story. I mean, that's a rock and roll story.
Well, yeah, it's one of them stories, true story. People don't believe it, but that's what happened.
Oh, do you know what? I could go on with these stories all day, but we're out of time. You're going to do another song for us. What are you going to do this time?
This is a song that I actually was on my second record, and I still play it live to this day. And once upon a time, a guy told me it was admired by Mr. Van Morrison, which is a massive compliment. And that's kind of why I keep it around. And it seems to speak to people. This is a song called Wear My Ring.
Brilliant. We'll hear it in just a second. You're gigging as well, the Empire on the 29th of September.
That's right, Thursday 29th, Empire Music Hall.
Brilliant.
All roads lead to.
Fabulous.
Tickets still available.
Excellent. Brian, good to see you as always. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
So here he is, one more time, live in the NVTV studios. Here is Brian Houston.
I got no work for tomorrow, and we got bills to pay. Will you wear my ring through the times of trouble? When the future's looking blacker with every passing day, would you wear my ring through the times of trouble? When I'm feeling sorry for myself and I can't face the truth, I'm listening to that someone else who's never walked in my shoes. When you're tired of life just being such a struggle, would you wear my ring through the times of trouble? When our friends forget about us and they don't pick up the phone, would you wear my ring through the times of trouble? Whenever your mother starts to doubt us and we've never felt so alone, would you wear my ring through the times of trouble? When you look at all our friendships, girl, see the ones my big mouth destroyed. When I bite my nails to the fingertips and I'm feeling paranoid. When all my mistakes come back double, would you wear my ring through the times of trouble? So when you know my darkest secret and I've got no way to pretend, would you wear my ring through the times of trouble? Whenever I've lost the faith in everything I once died to defend, would you wear my ring through the times of trouble? If I'm a victim of envy or somebody's jealous lies, when the wisdom of the wise man turns out to be just really bad advice, when we can't find the missing pieces of the puzzle, would you wear my ring? Would you wear my ring? Would you wear my ring through the times of trouble? Through the times of trouble.
Okay, we're talking theatre now, and the Bridesmaids of Northern Ireland are about to hit theatres all over the country, including the Grand Opera House here in Belfast. And I'm pleased to say Diona, Kathryn and Jayne join us now in the studio. Girls, welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
Thanks for having us.
So we'll talk about the new Bridesmaids show in just a second. Before we do, I have worked with all three of you on different things over the years. Like you, Diona. I mean, we spent a lot of time in some dodgy bars, didn't we?
I was the Sharon Osbourne. Do your Simon Cowell?
We were good.
We were good. We judged singing competitions. Well, Robin judged them. I just listened. It was good fun, but yeah.
You were the Sharon Osbourne, weren't you?
I was. Well, I like to think I was more the Cheryl Cole.
Yeah.
She was in for a while, wasn't she?
She was in for a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, we had a great time touring all
good
around
fun.
the place, wasn't it?
Yeah. A lot of talented singers.
There are out there, yes,
Yeah.
and including in your home city of Derry as well. There was
Yeah.
lots of talent up there, wasn't there?
We're all
Yeah.
very talented up there, Robin.
Talking about talented singers, I remember you, Kathryn, singing on a balcony in the Millennium Forum in Derry at the Big Buzz Awards many years ago.
Yeah, that's right. It was about 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did my work experience with you at the Big Buzz Awards as well.
You did? And
Yeah.
did you learn anything?
I learnt loads. It was great. Everyone else was doing different things and at accountants and like all these boring places, and I had a great work experience week.
That's great.
Yeah, it was good.
There we go. And Jayne, we've made a record together.
We did a wee Christmas tune. Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was going to be like the quickest running or something, like a world record, but no.
Oh right, no.
song.
Oh, a song! No.
Not a
We
wee tune.
did Blue Christmas. Jayne obviously can sing and is a very good singer, so she sang her way through it, and I talked my way through it.
That's right. Yes, you cheat.
Oh, you just made us all feel so old. Those years have passed.
Those years. But anyway, you've all moved on to newer things and much better things now, like Bridesmaids of Northern Ireland. And Diona, no pressure on you, but not only are you starring in it, but you've written it as well.
Yeah. That's silly of me, isn't it? Also, which is stupid, is I've written myself 4 massive monologues, and how self-obsessed am I? And then now I'm in rehearsals, I'm like, why did I write myself all these extra lines? Yeah, it's a 3-hander, obviously. The 3 of us are on stage 99% of the time. Then I just have written these stupidly big monologues for myself to learn. But
It's nice for us because we can go and get changed.
yeah, I just get changed on stage whilst doing my monologues.
Yeah.
So for any girl, I mean, it must be great getting dressed up in the bridesmaids gear every night.
Yeah,
It
it's
will
going to
be
be amazing.
Yeah. I think it's probably more the fact that we're all girls and we're all getting on really well, so it's just going to be fun for us together to be doing this show. It'll be just a nice experience.
Yeah, it doesn't
rather
feel like
than
work.
dressing up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more like the vibe.
Brilliant. So Diona, what's it all about then? What's the storyline behind it?
I've taken massive influence from the really popular film Bridesmaids, in the essence that there's, it's that sort of classic story of the bride, played by Kathryn, who, has her old best friend, which is Becky, myself, and Jayne then plays the new best friend, Tiffany, and these two are the bridesmaids, and they're at each other's throats the whole run up to the wedding. The drama throughout, like the hen do and the wedding dress shop and the engagement party, all the madness that happens then. And if you've been involved in a wedding before, or you've even been to a wedding, you'll recognise all of those things. Like I've been a bride, I've been a maid of honour, and I've been a bridesmaid. So that's the 3 roles that I wrote, because I've been all 3 of those. So I'm hoping that all of the people that have had me in their bridal parties don't come, because they'll be like, that was my wedding. Definitely taken from real life experience.
You say that loads.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
all-
like, this happened.
This is a wee bit too close to the bone, this bit.
So how's rehearsals going? I mean, I saw a little clip you did at the press launch the other night, and it looks like you're all having a great time together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Such good funness, and actually we're rattling through it in rehearsals. Like it's
And Jared's great as well.
yes, he is,
yeah.
and he told me
Very
to say he's
funny.
very funny.
Yeah, he's
He's very funny. He didn't tell me to say that or anything. But no, it's been great, and like I said, it doesn't feel like work because it's the show's so naturalistic. So you should be able to recognise yourself in each of the characters or parts of yourself. Or if you've ever planned a wedding, the stress of planning a wedding and all the politics that comes with that.
I think as well, because the 3 of us all have toddlers, like we're all mums and we all have toddlers, and we've all been married as well, so we've all been brides. So I think we all have that in common, and we can all sort of work with each other's schedules and recognise that we're just all going to be knackered permanently, Robin, so we just have to soldier on.
And of course, for the audience coming to see this as well, they're going to recognise things that have happened to them or to their children or to a wedding that they went to. I mean, it's going to be very relatable, isn't it?
Yeah, and I also wanted the music in it to be really something that people are used to hearing at weddings, like Rock the Boat's in it, and all those sort of songs that you hear at weddings. And Bruno Mars, Marry You is one of the big songs that we play as well. And I think I just wanted people to go to the show, not only go, oh, that's happened to me at my wedding or my best friend at her wedding, but also it to be like a night out. Like grab your bridesmaids, grab your best friends, your mother-in-law, get on for one night, whatever it is. Go out, have a few drinks, have dinner, and it to be like a night out, and we'll be your entertainment for that night out.
Well, I know what the Belfast audiences are like, and I know they will have probably quite a bit to drink before they come into the theatre as well. So the minute Rock the Boat comes on, you're liable to get people rocking the boat in the aisles.
They'll be in the aisle. That's what we want.
So you're getting ready, the rehearsals are going well, you're going on tour all around the place. A lot of dates really when you think about it, isn't there?
Yes, we kick off in Armagh Marketplace. He's looking at me like, we know. Armagh Marketplace, we're on a week's tour, we're going everywhere. We're in Newry, we're in Cookstown, we're in Monaghan, we're in Oma, I don't know, Enniskillen, all the places. And then we do a week in the Belfast Opera House, on tour again, and then we finish in my homeland of Derry. We're in the Millennium Forum for 2 nights. And yes, it is the weekend just right before Halloween, where people in Derry absolutely love to go out and celebrate Halloween. But what better way to celebrate Halloween than possibly get dressed up as brides or bridesmaids?
3 bridesmaids
and come to
on
the show.
Halloween. Yes, exactly. Are you encouraging people to dress up if they want to?
Absolutely. It's the new Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like, just come dressed up. I think that, it's obviously not something that's like, you have to do, but I think that would be a really fun experience for a group of...
My mum's dressing up with her friends. They're all dressing up as bridesmaids.
I mean, that would be such a fun night out. Everyone loves a theme.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we do have some photographs appearing on the screen right now of the press launch, because you actually stopped traffic in Belfast this week, didn't you? It was crazy.
Kathryn had to go to the toilet.
Yes. It was caught short in the middle of the road, and we stopped a couple of buses, didn't we?
Yeah. It's that iconic scene in Bridesmaids where that happens, and Kathryn very, very kindly recreated it in the middle of Belfast, which was, a few buses had to wait for her, but we loved it.
I think that's the only time I'll ever stop traffic, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I'm all, quite rude.
Before we finish, Diona, I've got to mention your podcast, because I have to say I'm watching it and I'm enjoying it. And
Thank you.
The things you're getting out of the guests is what any interviewer wants.
Yeah.
Because you probably don't know what's coming.
No.
And they come out, I was watching the Olivia Nash one, and she comes out with some amazing stuff on it.
She is obviously just a stalwart of our TVs here. She's unbelievable. I absolutely adore Olivia Nash, who everyone knows is Ma from Give My Headpiece. But I've had some brilliant guests on it. It's called Remember When with Diona Doherty, and like regularly it's in the top 20 UK comedy interviews in the charts. So I'm dead excited about it. I have some brilliant guests coming up too. So stay tuned.
Exactly. When are you having me on?
Whenever you want, Robin. My door's, well, not my door, but the door's always open.
Right, so there we go. Thank you all for coming in. You can catch Bridesmaids of Northern Ireland on tour throughout Northern Ireland. You're coming to the Grand Opera House when?
The 22nd of October.
And of course, there's a big date in Derry in the Millennium Forum as well, isn't there?
28th and 29th of October.
Brilliant. Okay, the very best of luck with the run.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Now let's talk movies once again, and the Cinemagic Festival is back. It's that time of year again. There's lots of exciting things happening, and I'm pleased to say that Claire Shaw is with us in the studio to tell us more. Claire, welcome. It's been a couple of years since I've seen you in the studio, but I can't believe this is the 33rd festival, isn't it?
It is 33 years of Cinemagic in Belfast, and we were just saying it is so brilliant to be back delivering events in person, in venues, and working with lots of young people again. So the energy of the festival is back, and we're so looking forward to it this October.
And of course, we've seen so many changes in Cinemagic over the years, from the beginning to where you are now. You're making movies now, you're in LA and places like that all the time. It's amazing, isn't it?
It's incredible, and do you know what? The whole ethos of Cinemagic has always been to inspire young people and motivate them and educate them. So wherever we do that, whether that's in Belfast or Dublin or the USA, or in fact more recently Jordan in Amman, we delivered a big peace and reconciliation project. So wherever Cinemagic is, the ethos is always there, and we always really want to work with young people to develop their skills to inspire them to work in the creative industries. And yes, Cinemagic is all over the place, but we are really steeped in the foundation of Belfast as our home city and our flagship city for all of the festival events then this October.
So the festival is back, and as always, you get some great names coming in to give talks and workshops and stuff, don't you?
We do, and we're so lucky that the film and television industry supports Cinemagic so well. So this year we are very excited to welcome a host of TV and film professionals, and one highlight that is really exciting for young people is that we have the editor of Blue Peter, the longest running children's television show in the world, and Ellen Evans, the editor of Blue Peter, is coming along to talk about working for that most amazing programme, how she got into the industry, how young people can get involved in sort of a career in that area if they're interested in editing and producing TV content. So we're really looking forward to that one.
And like me, you must have grown up watching Blue Peter on TV, and recently on this show I had Janet Ellis on the show, and I have to say I was so excited because I remember watching Janet and Sarah Green and the late great Karen Keating and stuff doing Blue Peter back in the day.
I know, it's brilliant, and that's a show that like so many generations can relate to, and it's still going strong today. So I think that one will resonate with parents as well as young people.
So what else have we got? CBBS Chris Jarvis is coming as well.
The one and only Chris Jarvis, yes, he is a fantastic supporter of the festival. He's going to work with young people to inspire them and really teach them about presenting and performing. And also Chris Jarvis is the director of the CBBS Panto this year and has been for many years. And Cinemagic is actually delighted to present the Northern Ireland premiere of that Panto in the Odeon Cinema actually at the end of November. So we're really excited about that one. Before it goes on to, you know, iPlayer and BBC, there will be a special Cinemagic cinema screening of that, and that is directed by Chris Jarvis.
Excellent. Now here's a face that I recognise, Harriet Keynes. Doing an acting thing.
Indeed, Harriet, people will know her from the highly popular Bridgerton. So Harriet, a young actress, is coming to talk to young people aged 16 to 25 about her career so far in the industry, about working on Bridgerton, about, you know, drama and TV and preparing for auditions and you know, how to sort of carve out a successful career in the industry, but also to let young people know about setbacks. And, you know, you very rarely always get yeses when you go to auditions and things. So the workshops and things that Cinemagic offer really give young people a taster of the real side of the industry. It's not all about promising young people jobs in film or TV, but it's about preparing them and equipping them to work in the industry and how to deal even with setbacks and getting no's, but also in a motivational way that will really inspire them.
And over the years, you must have seen people who have come to those workshops then meet them 5-10 years later, and they're actually working in the industry. That must be great to see.
Yeah, well, one really good example of that is Michael Lennox, who is the director of Dairy Girls. Yes. So Michael is hosting a workshop on Sunday the 2nd of October, and he actually came through Cinemagic. Like, I remember him when he was 17, 18, he was part of Cinemagic filmmaking competitions. He took part in masterclasses, education programs, and he was a rising star when we saw him at Cinemagic. So we have followed his career, obviously, intently over the years, and we're so delighted to welcome him back now to Cinemagic as an actual host of a masterclass.
That is brilliant. And when it comes to talking about movies as well, Mark Kermode, he's hosting a film night.
His film night, believe it or not, talking of numbers and years, it's Mark Kermode's 18th visit to Cinemagic. So Mark has been a huge supporter of the festival over the years, and he is coming to do his now infamous or famous Mark Kermode film night to talk about the year's film releases, to talk about the cinema industry, and in fact how it has changed over the last 2 years with you know, viewing films now also including home viewing and streaming, but also to really promote the fact that the best place to see movies is in the cinema.
Exactly. Talking about watching movies in the cinema now, you've got a lot of Halloween movies coming up in the run-up to Halloween, and I see one of my favourites as a kid here, Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, and you've actually one of the cast members coming, haven't you?
Yes, we are so excited about that, and every Halloween we have a big season of Halloween movies for young people, older people, grandparents, you name it, but we're delighted this year to welcome Cindy O'Callaghan to Cinemagic, and she played Carrie in the original Bed Knobs and Broomsticks, so that'll be a real special treat, and she's going to talk about, you know, her experience on that movie and, you know, it being such a classic movie for generations.
Oh, brilliant. And I see Return to Oz, which I remember watching as a kid as well. It was quite dark and quite scary from what I remember.
Yeah, it is a sort of scary Halloween one, and it'll resonate with all ages, I think, because, you know, when it came out, it did have a big audience, but of course, you know, children and young people are maybe revisiting it now or watching it for the first time. So we're delighted to present that as well in the black box, and we'll have lots of spooky goings on over the Halloween weekend and lots of chances for young people to get involved and all of that.
And of course, as well as the Halloween films, I mean, there's something for everyone from, I see you've got Annie, you've got The Wizard of Oz, you've got Aladdin, you've got a whole load of stuff happening.
You name it, like there is a huge classic cinema programme with all of those popular titles that families will be aware of, but we're also really proud, and it's what Cinemagic is built on as well, you know, world cinema, thought-provoking social issue films, foreign language movies, really sort of celebrating cultural diversity and how different people's viewpoints are told through film. So we have like over 150 films from all over the world, international films, previews and movies that you may not go to see in the cinema ordinarily or may not get a release in the cinema, but they're on the festival circuit as such, and it's a real brilliant chance to sort of watch those thought-provoking films that are just cinematic gems.
It must be a nightmare for the person who does the scheduling.
It is. It is indeed. It's a big job and a huge team effort, I have to say as well, but it's such a busy month for us at Cinemagic, and we just can't wait to bring the programme out to the Northern Ireland public and see audiences again and welcome them back to all the cinema venues across Belfast.
And as you say, you've got a great team there, and Joan is still looking after things, yeah?
Joan is looking after things, and we've lots of old faces and new faces at Cinemagic, and we're just really excited to get out there this October and welcome all the audiences to the festival.
Brilliant. Well, if people want to check out the full programme and get all the info, they can pick up one of these, or I would imagine they can check it out online, can't they?
Thank you, yes, Robin. Cinemagic.org.uk.
Brilliant. Claire, it's been great seeing you. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you. So that's all we have time for on the show this week. A big thank you to all my guests. I'll see you back here same time next week. Bye-bye.